Hey guys, how are you? Yep. So I was out and about celebrating that small matter in Madrid of Liverpool against Tottenham. But I got this paper. I don't normally get the mainstream media. I got this paper while I was at it because I wanted to have the commemoration of the 6 times European champions. But I was captivated by this headline, and I've got it right here for you. Let me expand that while we get rid of Burko's hideous face. MI5 spies now face historic assault. So intelligence services in this world are your permanent government enforcers. The guys you vote for, if you're stupid enough to encourage them by participating in their Ponzi scheme and endorsing their maritime law scam, the guys you vote for are junior leaders. You must understand that. They just get to be public faces that act out the power. They don't really have long-term, deep state, sustainable power. The system constrains you. You saw it with Theresa May. You see it with all of them. So here's what happens. This is one of the most powerful arms. It's not the only one. The banking cartel, the system of families, and the control through the money and the dark. Let's be frank. If you're a trillionaire many times over and you can print as much money as you want, you don't seek money. It's about the power, and because you're so powerful, you don't want to be targeted by who you consider the oiks. So you have other people that stand up and get assassinated for being leaders, or slung nasty slurs at, etc., like Theresa May has had to endure, despite very well merited. They are servants. They don't want to be put in front of the cattle, these trillionaires. They just want the absolute power. They want to do maneuverings behind the side. And one of the key things is enforcement and the dark state. The dark state murders people they see as enemies if it's politically expedient. You need to understand that. This notion of James Bond and spies and righteous people working for the free everything, they work for who pays them and who puts them there. So this narrative of MI5, let's give it a little read for you. We are under unheralded attack. So this is an appeal for more debt and money to be directed to dark state. Remember dark state in the US, they were the ones that confessed to having 3 trillion lost, fell out the back pocket, down the back of the couch the day before 9/11. That was Rumsfeld. A quick little confession. There's slush funds, there's money printed up, it goes in there, it funds projects, special perquisites, all kinds of hacking teams, all sorts of things that you're not meant to know that are happening on. They're a government and a law entirely unto themselves. They go unchecked. Being in front and the head of the secret services is one of the many things. So this is PR. When you get one of these guys showing up, they try to keep their name out of the newspapers as much as possible generally. But when they surface and do, we're under unheralded threats, we have to win every time, the enemies only have to get it right once and we failed. These are usually precursors to a false flag attack, to justify further funding, further civil liberties to be undermined, and further funds being rerouted into the many slush funds, pet projects, slurs and smearing of political activists, the kind of things that would have chased down Assange, got the rape cases going, got him trapped, got the pressure brought on other companies to try not host him, Snowden, all of these people. Here's the usual suspects that they brought up. Ben Wallace painted a disturbed, this is the security minister, said he had a chilling interview. What is chilling interview? This means invoking the fear, the severity of the threat, the extremity of the situation. A chilling interview with the Mail on Sunday. Security Minister Ben Wallace said he painted a disturbing picture of how, and now listen to the usual suspect spring roll, Russian aggression. We've seen Russian aggression with all our bases on their borders, etc., etc. Islamic extremism, that old fave that has been well established, the 9/11, that was all, remember, it was all Islamic extremism that did it. The blokes from Saudi were the box cutters. Yes, that was them. Neo-Nazi terrorism. Now, this is becoming a popular one. Apparently, we're under siege from Nazis. all the time. You know, those wild-eyed, blue-eyed, snarling skinheads. That sounds like me. Organized crime have made the world a more dangerous place. They always need an adversary, and they always have to plump that adversary up. Sophisticated, well-organized, multi-networked criminal syndicates. You know, they need to make Joe Schmo and his little car-stealing racket sound like they're facing formidable enemies here, revealing that there are hundreds of active, ongoing operations. He made a direct plea for more Treasury funding. This isn't even by accident. Normally, they're not this direct. Normally, you'll say, we're under extreme pressure. We don't have enough people. There's so much going on behind the scenes. We can't tell you all. It's secret. We're tracking them. We don't want to give them away, but we're under great pressure. That's normally how they plead for funding. To actually state it outright, they're not even leaving you to join the last dot. We need more funds. Simple as that. We want to, supposedly hiring more people to keep you safe from neo-Nazis, Russian aggression, and Islamic extremists like the 9/11 Islamic extremists, with box cutters, those guys, and the dancing Israelis in downtown New York, that later are low-level Mossad guys appearing on talk shows in Tel Aviv. Those kind of things, yes. So MI5 spells a new extreme threat, a historic assault. They want more money. They want more money just as this entire global economy is tipping. I've not been on Reset Sniper for a while. All the things we've been expecting is happening. The yen is getting super strong. There's real panic. Junk bond yields are are spiking up. The values are collapsing. People are jumping into the safer government debt. The stock market is turning down. All our shorts on our trading side on equities that we were putting on when the market was coming close to hitting all highs, the market as in those big unicorn indices market, not the second tier and the third tier that we were seeing so many shorts. They were all spilling and making their targets, tons of them. So we're seeing it on the trading front. We're seeing the stress in the yen. We're seeing the stress in the debt markets. We're seeing the proper sell in May and go away tendency anyway, built on top of the most expensive stock market in the world, in the US, the biggest parabolic debt curve. All these things are beginning to unravel. And here comes your dark state saying more money. Where does that money get found? Well, you don't get more tax revenue. You get what you get for tax revenue. In fact, you up tax levels, you get less tax revenue generally. So what that means is more debt to be raised to buy ever greater. So the control structure wants to expand its empire. The more employees, the more operatives they've got at home and away and doing social media, undermining tweets on YouTube for anybody that isn't all hail Israel, the Mossad, and all hail the Zionist leftist movements of pumping immigrants from all over and having wars in Yemen and all of that to be undermined, to be put on lists. We need more resources to pursue our political agenda. The Russians are actually not aggressive. They're buying gold. They want to be left alone. The Islamic are being incorrectly labeled for many, many things. Actually, if we stop bombing the goddamn Middle East and left them alone for a while, they'd probably get on with it. Iran is not trying to rule the world and put bases on every border of every state it deems an enemy, etc., etc. But we do know about the Greater Israel project. We do know about the power of AIPAC. We do know about the project for the new American century, where Libya needed attacking, Iraq needed attacking, Sudan needed a central bank and attacking, Afghanistan needed attacking, and Syria and Iran, the last two still remaining of 6 that were announced before 9/11 even occurred, that needed attacking, all conveniently between the Nile, the one blue line, and the Euphrates, the other. That just happens to be the large Israeli area. We have the Golan Heights, that is Syrian property that's just been awarded by an American president. So an American president has just ceded Syrian ground to Israel, where Rothschild is a director, along with Dick Cheney, Larry Summers, Americans, Treasury Secretary at one point, Larry Summers, Dick Cheney, clearly extremely high in masonry and behind the control of the 9/11 events and calling the fighter planes down during those all events, all happening to be directors on Genie Oil, all happening to have concessions that Benjamin Netanyahu, having now received that land, has immediately granted mining concessions to this particular company. You can't make this stuff up. These guys, those names, those core central bankers, those behind-the-scenes politicians. He went as far as public as being a vice president, Cheney, but he's been, chairman, board member of Halliburton, the one that scoops up all the government contracts and makes absolute obscene money, charging millions to serve Big Macs to American troops in Afghanistan and any other contract that's going, including oil, and was largely responsible for the BP spill, but they blamed it all on BP, etc., etc. Those guys, you don't hear about that. These guys know all that. MI5 know all that, especially the ones near the top. They know who the dirty dogs are. They're part of that same team. And they want to steal more and add more debt to the British balance sheet to expand their empire for managing you, the sheep, all in the name of protecting you from the neo-Nazis and the Russians. Those damn Russians, they're behind everything. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. Just wanted a few pictures of my football match. What do I get? Dark state telling you. And by the way, most important point, and I've said it only once, and I really want to hammer this home, to make these ring true, if there isn't a significant threat, they're all prepared to create one. To say, you see, we told you so. We told you we were stretched. We told you we needed resources, more resources. We needed that. You need to respond now or it'll happen again, etc. Look the dead bodies, look the thing, all of this. Go watch The End of the Line around 7/7, the documentary, and the guy who was jailed for doing it. The End of the Line, London 7/7 bombings. And also note the drill that was done at all the exact stations that were attacked, which by one probability, one professor of probabilities, permutations and combinations said exceeded multiple billions of being possible, that they happen to run a drill. And remember that every false flag, as one of the many things that appear on a list that are pure no-brainers for dark state terrorism against citizens and murdering them for their political objectives and gains to justify and get the will and traction for funding their dark game. One of the key things is running a drill. So I'm afraid to say, UK, I'm putting you on notice. I think it'll be a right-winger. There's a new meme. We need to hate the blue-eyed whites. We've had a New Zealand attack. They like to work in memes and themes. Whilst they've mentioned Russian aggression, they're kind of done with the poison, fake Novichok, whatever narratives. They've thrashed the Islamic one enough times that people are getting a bit tired of it. And there's now, the mayor of London is now Islamic and all of this. So they certainly want to turn the pressure up on the world of being, if you're born white, male, English, you're an imperialist, you're born with guilt attached. And by the way, apart from being white generally, being born guilty and full of a privileged coat of colors like Joseph, you're also statistics now that show that actually these things don't exist, or certain statistics are now become racist things if they illustrate certain points that are not permissible by the new leftist George Soros open society doctrine. Watch out for these people. Watch out what's going down. It may not be a quiet summer for Britain, and some people may use any false flag as leverage and additional commentary and feedback for, you see what's happened in this post-Brexit world. You've brought this on yourself, and now you've underfunded the false flag attacking organization cartel that demands to live a different level of lifestyle to you and control and have run power in conjunction with the Talpiot program and all the tech that goes out of Israel. They all will be most upset if they don't get their additional funding, so much so that it might have to cost some bodies and generally London's a good place. It needs to get the maximum impact of the maximum amount of people, the maximum amount of fear. So to be a major urban area, if not London, Manchester, or whatever the case may be, beware a possible false flag attack. Your handlers, the head of the chicken ranch, need to chop a few chicken heads to cause sufficient panic in the chicken ranks. And you and I ain't part of that management cartel. We're one of the birds. Watch out, watch out, watch out. I don't like the ominous nature of these headlines. I don't like the narrative that they're spinning. They're up to something. Await the backlash, and as I say, I'm putting my money on a white nationalist, racists, fascists type meme that they'll look to pursue. So maybe it'll be directed against gays, LGBTs, that will help them. White and male and hateful and nail bomber type thing, who knows? Or it could be ethnically directed. It could be anything. But that would be my best guess, to follow in on the meme of New Zealand. Okay, I'm done. That's an eerie prediction. I don't want to be proven right on this. But in these crazy times, in the research sniper world, where a lot of things are teetering, there's some people with their hat out and they want 3 trillion that they can lose behind the back of the couch on the other side of the pond. Bye for now.